You're listening to Rebel Spirituality with me, Sam Goldfinch. Here's the truth. Wisdom doesn't follow rules. So each week we're going to explore what it means to wake up your way so you can live a more peaceful, creative and inspired life no matter your circumstances. It's time to blaze your unique path to truth. Hey friend, so I had a question. Someone asked me a question this week, which was, how do I know that I'm connected? You know, you talk about the wisdom and intelligence behind life, being connected, who we are beyond our psychology, something that Sid Banks used to talk about a lot. And I wanted to really sit with it because I'm very aware that a story or a kind of poem or a metaphor or an image of our head of being connected is perhaps a nice thing to have, but it's not the thing that it's not transformative. It's not the thing that makes the difference. So I very often talking about nature in terms of connection. Like, is there a tree that could possibly not be connected to life? Is there a badger? Is there a planet or a human or anything that by its existence doesn't prove its value and its, quote unquote connectedness, that actually any separation that seems to be there, when we really go and look for it, we just see processes and systems within systems. And I'm very aware that we can talk about that at a kind of intellectual level. When I talk about that, I want it to come from my heart, because I know that someone might catch sight of something that they haven't seen before, something that to me seems so obvious, so incredibly just the fact of it, that it's amazing that we can kind of innocently miss it. And the only thing that stands in between any of us and a recognition of our oneness or our connectedness or a falling away of the illusion of separation, the only thing that stands in between any of us and that experience is a thought. It's a thought that we're not one with life, that we're different, that we're separate, that we're this isolated being. And so this question, how do I know that I'm connected? I guess I kind of want to ask, what's here when you're not identified with a thought? So in any moment of being, open, just be here together now. And just look away from any of the thinking and just become aware of this open presence that's here, sounds appearing. Maybe you'll see things, hear things, sense things. Like prior to a thought of, how would I know that I'm connected? Or is it just not an open field? Is it not just an experience of life? Is it not just energies that we then go on to label sensations or feelings or emotions? Is it possible that we could have an experience that doesn't prove to us in every moment the fact of our being? Like, how could we not be life force? I sometimes ask this question, how do you know that you're alive? And people will say things like, well, I'm here, or my heart's beating, or I can feel this. Well, it doesn't really matter what comes up, but just that experience, that recognition of our aliveness, fully recognize the implication of that is to realize that, well, you're life. So any of the ideas or the constructs that we have, things that we may have learned around religion, or, we may have ideas around being kind of technically minded or scientifically minded, or all of those kinds of things that can all of that stuff that happens in the world of thought. Like, if we fall away from that and truly scientifically as well investigate what's here in this moment, all I can find is being and then objects of consciousness, all of which are equal. Sounds appearing, feelings, sensations, a thought, visual objects. They're all equal in the sense that they're all just here, they're all known. And then at some point maybe a story comes in, a deficiency story could come in, or a story of being disconnected or not connected. And this is the mechanics of how this stuff works. Like for me, for anyone, for me, a deficiency story or a story of something being wrong, or a story of our not enoughness and all of those kinds of things. Whereas those things aren't here when we're just kind of investigating what's here in our direct experience. And so to me, that question, how do I know that I'm connected? It's not something that we can answer with the intellect. The intellect will get an intellectual answer, which might sound nice, that I can kind of speak poetically or paint a picture. But the thing that's going to make a difference is, and this again is a metaphor because I have to use words, but a recognition from our heart or a recognition from knowing that, yeah, like it can't be any other way. How could I not be life? How could I, the universal I, not be? And we may get a feeling around that, but it won't be an emotion. Like, it's very hard to talk about this because often when we talk about feelings, we talk about emotions or sensations, but we're talking about like a deeper feeling, or I like to use the word a recognition, a knowing that something is true, that comes from, beyond the mind, beyond our psychology, that comes from the wisdom and intelligence behind life. And of course, the mind and our psychology is that wisdom. There is nothing separate. David Bohm, the physicist, used to always talk about how all separation is created through the power of thought. He said, thought creates the world and then says, I didn't do it. So thought creates categories, it creates segmentation, it creates, the world of, what's coming into my head, cutlery, and the world of animals and all this stuff. But when we go looking for these separate lines, we don't find them. We go looking at what looks like a distinct line in the world, and actually when you look with a microscope, it collapses into something else. Then you go looking for the next distinct line, and that collapses into something else. And so the recognition of, there's the seeing of that we can use our senses to explore through scientific measurement and equipment, but we can also do this through the power of our own investigation, our own kind of self-reflection. And this is what's been happening for thousands of years in the wisdom traditions. And so the recognition of connectedness is something that we just come to see, we just come to know it in our heart, or we come to know it in our being. We just come to realize, how could it even be possible that I'm not a part of this movement of life? Yeah. Okay. I hope you have a great day. Lovely to be here with you as always. I'll see you soon.